Cool. Next game up is BYU at Utah. Utah's laying 3.5. Some more juicy threes out there as well. And the total, the most intriguing part of this game, I was looking to play under in it. It opened 50.5. And in less than 5 minutes, it was at 46. And it's even come down a little bit more since then. It hit 44.5 today. A couple books back up, or most of the books now back up to 45. So we'll call the total 45. That's exactly where my number is. I kind of threw out home field to an extent in this matchup. The Holy War, it's essentially non-existent. For those that don't know, BYU travels low because they're a religious school and there's Mormons everywhere. Like at Arizona, for example, they just played a game in Arizona, a neutral spot in Glendale, and it was half and half. Actually, I heard there were actually more BYU fans at that game, and you could tell and hear it kind of when they hit the field goal to win it at the end. Anyway, so here you have Salt Lake City, very close to Provo, where BYU is located. Plenty of Mormons in Salt Lake too. It's going to be very, very, very even split. I think if you blindly bet like the road team money line dog for the last 20 years, you'd buy an island by now. So in general, I would normally line this game more like 4.5, just from a normal, home field advantage edge for the University of Utah. In this case, I don't think it really comes into play. So getting over the field goal might actually be the right side. There's a lot of other factors pointing to BYU, mainly the revenge from last bowl for a lot of these players that are coming back. They played just in the Las Vegas Bowl in December. Utah went up 35-0 in the first quarter and barely hung on to win 35-28. And BYU had a chance to tie it up late. They couldn't do it. So you have guys remembering, obviously, that really embarrassing one quarter of football. And they dominated Utah after that. They just had 4 turnovers, I think it was, that led to most of those points. Taysom Hill's back at quarterback. He didn't play last year, and senior running back Jamal Williams. They're both seniors. They didn't play last year in the bowl game. They've also lost to Utah every time they've tried to play. Every season that they've given it or met in a matchup. And so this is their last shot at winning a rivalry game. You also have Kalani Sitake, the new head coach of BYU, was an assistant or defensive coordinator at Utah for 9 of the last 10 years. Some interesting information, I guess, is a little bit of awkwardness there. He, let's see. So last year he was at Oregon State. He went with Gary Anderson to be the defensive coordinator there, and people wondered why, because it's kind of a downgrade to go from Utah to Oregon State. Well, he was kind of up for a couple potential head coaching gigs. He was told at Colorado State, who lost McLuhan. I don't know, remember how to say his name. I think it's McIlwain or McLuhan. He went to Florida, and so they were hiring a new guy. They told him, Satake, you're the guy. He told Utah, I'm not going to be your defensive coordinator and assistant coach anymore because I'm going to be the head coach at Colorado State. They stiffed him, and it was kind of awkward to tell Utah, oh, can I come back? And they had already got someone else and moved on. So then he kind of last second went to Oregon State. So luckily he kind of has his job here now, but he's really, really familiar with the Utah program. Maybe has a little bit of an extra kind of, I'll show them mojo behind him in this game. The Utah defense was great against Southern Utah. I meant to say offense, though, struggled, and that was their question marks coming into this game and this season particularly. Offensive line, Devontae Booker went to the Broncos in the NFL draft. He was a big loss, new quarterback as well, and they struggled. They were up 3-0 with, I think, 2:50 left in the first half at home against Southern Utah. Finally scored a couple touchdowns. Southern Utah isn't the worst FCS school in the world, but maybe Utah's looking ahead to this game too. But I honestly think their defense, or I keep saying defense, their offense's struggle was legit, and I think they're going to struggle again against the BYU defense that was fantastic against Arizona, held them to 3 points for 57 minutes, and this is a new Solomon Arizona-led offense that scored 40 against Satake when he was at Utah a few years ago, and 44 the following year. He held them to 3, and then they scored 2 touchdowns late, 17 total. Fantastic showing. I know BYU's defense in general is just really, really talented and experienced, so no one expected them to give up 40 plus there. But the way that they were just able to handle Arizona was a big surprise in my opinion. Their offense struggling, they're implementing a new offense, not so much. So the fact that score was 18-17, not too surprising. Again, why I loved the under, but then here we are. It's already been bet down 6 points, 5.5 points. So there's my play for this is if there is some buyback on the over and it hits 48. That's my buying point. I make it 45. and I kind of just generally like the spot. And since it is new in the season with a lot of new pieces on both sides, I think it's a fine play for an under. I might even get a little desperate for some action in this game and play it anyways, but it'll just be small, very very small, and that's because if you didn't know, both of these schools are alma maters of mine, and so I'll need to have something on it. This video definitely went long because of that, but I'm excited. It should be a fun matchup, and again, watch out for a 48. If that's the case, it's a buy on the under. The side for me, getting over a field goal is popular. I don't have it in me to pluck down money, but that's what I would take if I had to.